take this chance to take a break, and we cannot say certain words, so we will refer to all of that as Voldemort, right? So Voldemort's kind of, I guess, taken over all of society and the news and everything, and our microphones are going to be all jacked up. We'll edit that. Yeah.
The C word?
Well, we can't say that, so lift your... yeah, let's do that, so we can see your lovely blue eyes, as your mother likes to say all the time. And do that, just kind of hang out for a minute. So this is Jake. Jake is my oldest of 2 sons, one of the illustrious 5 Jones kids. It was
Adopted.
You are. What, he just drops that bomb like it. There's a whole bunch of people going, what? He looks just like his dad.
Yeah, why do I get that?
I don't know. Maybe they're racist.
What does my biological dad look like?
I don't know. You look like your grandfather. So.
I know that.
But yeah, okay, so big truth bomb right there. Let's kick that show off right away. For those of you that did not know, Jake is adopted. So, yeah, it was really kind of cool, actually. I mean, you were always mine. I remember
Craig was there when we went to that courthouse.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Craig was here, wasn't he?
How
Yeah.
old was I?
3,
Really?
maybe 4 or 5. I don't know. Mom,
Everything seemed huge to me, so I'd have been young.
yeah, you gotta put your arm down. Everyone wants to see your arm. Yeah. So, all right. So, for everybody, have the whole story, right? So, I was with your mom when she went in labor. I remember taking her to the hospital. I remember always having you as part of our life. So we really weren't a couple at that point, but we were always like super good friends. And obviously, God had a plan for figuring that out. We had to kind of go all sorts of crazy ways for
Friend zone there. Oof.
I don't think, you know what, I really was friend zoned in the very beginning. That's kind of what had some of the delay, because I'm such a child and your mom was not tolerant or patient of that at that time. I remember we went out as a group and we went to Lakeland Mall, and they had like a toy store.
Mm-hmm.
And I
the upstairs one?
No. This was in Lakeland. They don't exist anymore. I actually don't. KB Toys, maybe. Again, she should be messaging Allison for the questions. So, corrections if she would even be watching, which I don't even know if we have. I don't know how to watch. It's not letting me see anything at the moment. I am trying to refresh and stuff, but it is not cooperating. So we have a lot to learn. And if you know how to run Facebook Live and do all this, then feel free to let me know. Because
just like everything else with Facebook.
yeah, we just figured it would be good to take a break from all of the Voldemort, all of the horrible news, all of the craziest dismay in the world right now. We thought we'd just chat, do some of this. It's been something we've talked about for a while, and I'm glad we did it. So let's get back to the story. So anyway, we go to the mall, and I'm like a child in a toy store. I'm not really any different then than I am now. I probably was way worse then. And she wasn't having it. Right back to her boyfriend at the time. So, yeah. So, but later on, it worked out well, and we've always been a part of each other's lives. Like, she was really close to Zach and Taylor. She was really such a great mom for them as well. So it's really been a no-brainer to have our families come together so easily. And I was always excited to have you. I think you're awesome. So despite what everybody might want to say to make you cringe, because it is funny to make you cringe. So.
What is that? I can't see that far now. These contacts are like 8 years old.
Oh, it says they can message me. That's Allison. Allison Jones is running camera for her. She likes to call herself the stagehand. So stagehand is behind the camera today. We're hoping to get her in front of the camera soon. So any of you that want to have Allison, feel free to send us some questions or thoughts for her, because she can have different perspectives being the youngest of the 5. But so we did adopt you, and yeah, I've always told people have asked me sometimes like how you feel about that and all there, and I always say, well, I've always tried to tell you that I got to pick you. So
cool.
I got to choose to, be your dad. It was something that, not that it's taken away from the other 4.
What's his name? Kilgore?
Steve. Yeah, Steve. Kilgore. Yeah. You could have been a Kilgore.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah. But you look just like your grandfather.
Yeah.
And you definitely have his demeanor, his sense of humor. What do you remember? His nickname was Gaka.
Yeah.
That's the coolest part about being the oldest of the grandson. This is Allison. Hey, there we are.
That's Allison.
There's 2 people watching, so look at that. One of them is probably Allison.
Oh.
And there we go. So we're there. And I don't know. So you're just eager to watch yourself. I'm going to take it away from you if you don't talk to me. So
It's not right on top. Okay.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's probably going to buffer behind us or something. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, so you get to name him. I did the same thing with my grandfather because you're the first one, and there's nicknames and stuff, and whatever you nickname, the others will learn, right? So you got to nickname him Gaka.
If you ain't first, you're last. So, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're not first, you're last. So what do you remember the most about your grandfather?
I don't know. I was kind of thinking about this the other day. I remember bits and pieces. I was still pretty young when he died. I know. I remember at one point he took me fishing. I forgot where we went, but I was too busy catching frogs and suffocating them and throwing them in the water. And it stormed real bad.
That's awful.
Yeah, I know. Well, they would like burrow down in the mud, so I'd dig them out and I just hold on to them. I'd get like a handful of
Oh, got it.
and they would just suffocate.
So you're just a child.
So I'm just,
Yeah.
I was really young back then. And then, a thunderstorm real bad. That's one of the more vivid memories I have, I guess. Oh, Fantasy of Flight. We went there quite often. That's actually the first time I flew in an airplane. And kind of my love for aviation started back then. But I remember that. And he would walk around and, I'm a little kid, so I don't have a clue what he's saying, but he would tell me about all the World War II planes and such, and he'd give me every specification and detail and everything, and I'm just,
making memories.
I'm just like 4 years old. I don't know. I just want to walk around in the airplane,
Yeah.
So.
Do you remember your favorite airplane?
Oh yeah, he and I shared the P-51 Mustang.
And it's all you talked about as a kid, man.
Yeah,
it's all you talked about.
It's so cool.
It is so cool. Yeah. So you guys always have a lot of stories when we're together. You guys always talk about digging a hole and filling it with water. You'd all get inside these mud holes.
Yep.
Yeah. So you draw. Do you remember they say you would draw with chalk? He'd draw alligator. Because you were obsessed with Steve Irwin.
Yep. Man, that was a tough day. I was in like 5th grade when he died, but yeah, he would draw alligators and I'd throw myself on them and crikey, do the whole shtick and everything. We used to draw like roads. He'd draw like a road for us to drive our bikes and the little Hot Wheel car things down and everything like that.
Yep.
Yep.
What was it like having like so many siblings? Is it kind of weird when you meet other people who might be an only child or anything like that? Is it weird having so many kids? Did that ever come up?
No. Well, it was split a lot of times. So, we had a lot of siblings, but Zach and Taylor weren't really around. But anyways, as we grew older, we kind of grew closer, I guess. I'm definitely pretty close with Zach.
You guys were pretty good.
Crammed into the bedroom. I remember that. When we lived on Acker Road, we were all crammed in that one bedroom.
Well, we had 2 of you in the different rooms.
Yeah, I remember.
We had a boy and a girl. Right.
Yeah, and then Zach and I lived in that little one.
Yeah.
And then we would just hide in there. I don't know why we did that. We would just find hiding places. Like we'd figure out how to climb up. Remember that little closet in there?
Yeah.
With Yoda? Where is he? Is he in here? Because he's spooky. He's spooky.
He's in the other movie room. He's not in this movie room. So
okay.
this is like.
Anyway, regardless, Yoda will watch me when I was sleeping. It always stressed me out. But anyways, we figure out how to like shove ourselves in those little cubbies and stuff. We had this big football toy box thing. We'd clear that thing out and climb in there and hide under the bed, on top of the bed.
So I doubt you remember it. So this is how crazy you guys would get. So there's a time where my mom was going to watch you, and she didn't know where Grandma G watched you, and everyone lost track of. She claimed she didn't know where you guys were. You guys had taken all the toys out of your football toy box because you treated it like a spaceship.
Yeah.
And you guys were inside.
Well, there's little peepholes in it too. I don't know what they were there for, but we could see here.
There used to be on these football toy boxes, it had like a prong that went through the hole, and so when you took the lid off, the lid would just kind of hang over. Well, it eventually just broke because we had this for years.
Probably because we were climbing in it.
That's probably true too. It's a spaceship, and so the joke was that you couldn't tell where you guys were. You were both completely inside this football toy box, but you would stick your fingers through to let us know that's where you were because you just hear you guys in there giggling, just so full of yourselves. You were actually not good for sitters. Of all of your shortcomings.
Remember Chrissy?
Yeah,
You guys
Chris-
didn't make it down the driveway before.
No.
Stuck in the
Yeah.
closet.
We made it-
hung upside down on the metal bar.
So we didn't make it to the end of the road. Oh man, that was great.
Had my leg.
Your leg was jacked
That was
up.
on Acker Road too, because that was in
Yeah.
the girls' room, right?
Yeah.
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 Well, I don't know what I was.
Because she didn't know what you were. She thought you were in the boys' room playing.
Yeah.
And you guys had went in the girls' room, and there was a
It's like a hanger.
there's a curtain rod for your clothes. A rod up high, and there was a little rod, and it was kind of short, and somehow you flipped completely upside down.
It was intentional.
And we're and we're hanging kind of backwards with your leg, and your
My
leg
leg got stuck between the wall and the
right,
bar.
and you got stuck,
Yeah,
and
I
she
know.
couldn't figure it out. We literally had pulled out of the driveway and drove not even a football field away from the house, and the phone's going bonkers.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you raced to the girls' room to do gymnastics in the girls' closet, and that was literally like the first sitting
Well,
experience
talked me into it.
for
I don't
Chris.
know who it was, but somebody talked me into that.
All right, well, that takes us to a different story. So it was recently brought up, probably at Christmas or one of the get-togethers, that Sierra was actually the secret
She's a
manipulator.
Yeah.
How come you guys never threw her under the bus? Because she kind of got like
Come on, she was like the perfect kid. So like we'd be like, oh yeah, Sierra told us to do that. You guys would be like, yeah, okay.
I don't remember ever being told Sierra told us to do that.
Well, because we knew Sierra was like the golden kid, right? Never got in trouble, never had any issues.
Of course she didn't get in trouble. Nobody told us what she was actually
Would you
doing.
believe me if I told you anyway?
I do now.
No. Well, back then you wouldn't have.
I think I would have.
Quit being a little idiot, man.
I don't know. I think somebody might have believed. I don't know if we. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Any messages from anybody? Any questions? Feel free to send them in because we'll talk.
Laura Jones,
Oh, well, there's my lovely wife.
like you to ask Jacob
Don't have to
about
be snitching.
the night they flooded the bathroom.
Oh my gosh! I wish I could have you and Zach together for this. 'Cause so here's the best part of the story: is for years we didn't actually know what happened. So at the time, here's what happens: the kids go to bed, and
Thought, anyway.
Oh yeah, so we thought. So I think I put all the kids to bed, and Laura is at work. So everybody's in bed, and then suddenly Taylor runs in and says, the boys have soap in the eyes and they're crying. And Taylor was known to say crazy things. She didn't want to be in bed. She's got her own stories that we'll have to unearth a different day. So Taylor would have all these different stories. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Go back to bed, you crazy kid. Lo and behold, you guys had gotten in the bathtub, poured all the soap inside, made this giant bubble bath. But you used real soap and shampoos. You didn't use like the baby soap that wouldn't make your eye. So you actually were, so you're naked with the soap in your eyes, screaming because it's burning your eyes. And that's kind of what I thought the story was. So I'm telling your mom the story. I'm going to kill you guys. I couldn't believe what you had done. You flooded the bath. There's water absolutely everywhere. It was a nightmare. And at this point, I think it's like 11:30 to midnight or something like
It
that.
was late. It was dark.
It was definitely late. So then that was kind of a story, and there'd always be jokes about it. And then we had a get together, and I had one of the little, I think it was the Jurassic Park magnet. And it was on the fridge. So I found it or something. And that's when you guys go, yeah, that's one of those magnets we were playing with the night that we fought over who could be the mommy.
Yeah, I know.
So what actually happens, because the story is nuts.
I don't remember exactly, but I remember Zach had like a long shirt on, and he was in the bathtub, and we turned the water on, and he was just filling his shirt up with the water. And we were debating on who could be the mommy because he's trying to make a belly with it or something. I don't know. But anyway, so after that, I don't remember exactly. I remember being like on top of the counter, like in the cupboard thing. And
Right.
Just going to town with whatever was in there, just throwing it around.
Right.
I don't know why I did that. That was stupid thinking back.
Right.
Now, but, yep.
That is
That's how the
awesome.
bathroom got flooded is because we were trying to fill our shirts with water.
Oh my gosh, that is so awesome. So, yeah, that's crazy. So, we find out all these details years and years later, and it's kind of become the joke about talk. So it's usually two stories. It's either ask the story they flooded the bathroom, or tell a story about how they wanted to fight over who could be the mommy, which is great because you're now both these manly men.
Yeah.
That it's just, this is great. So now you've been tarnished. So is there anyone from the Jeff Hills jail that might hear this? They'll be like, so you're the mommy now, huh?
No, I think Zach got to be the mommy.
Zach
Definitely got-
Zach won. Zach, guess. It cuts over his eyes first. So yeah, you had quite the legacy of trouble. And yeah, I mean, how far deep in this hole should we go? We keep telling other crazy stories. Because you and Zach were not really allowed to be left alone to your own devices without being. If you two,
You guys would leave us outside, but there wasn't really too much to get into.
yeah, you were in trouble outside when you'd go to other people's houses, not our house. So you were pretty good. Yeah, you were pretty good for us.
Zach doesn't remember the pig. I was telling him about it.
No?
The big old war pig.
Well, I'm actually, so when you stayed with my mom and Frank,
But I
And-
only remember doing it a couple of times.
so here's the best. Nothing ever was said. Mom never said anything, and you guys never had said anything. And I think we're unpacking the clothes, and you had like these Star Wars shirts because you guys were obsessed, and we can talk about that later. And it literally had like a burnt hole. And I'm like,
Zach pushed me in the
guys, they had built a bonfire. Next thing I know, one of you's pushing the other one in a fire, and no one bothered to tell us. You didn't get really hurt, but I'm like, your shirt was on fire at one point? What?
Well, prior to that, I don't remember. It escalated rather quickly, but we had those big palm fronds.
It escalated rather. Just
And we
okay.
were like, okay, listen, we were taking the palm fronds, we were lighting on fire and having lightsaber fights with them.
Of course it is lightsaber fights.
I remember it was like, what was that football player? Allstott.
Yeah, Mike Allstott.
Yep, that was the jersey I had on.
Right.
Then at one point I remember, like I was lighting my palm frond lightsaber on fire, and Zach's was still on fire, and he had pushed me, and I fell into the fire. And then I just kind of got up in my shirt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't get hurt or nothing. There was stuff way worse than that. Like we were finding scorpions and stuff and holding them and doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, it was a free for all going to my mom's house. It was like, oh my gosh.
She would make us sit through like these terrible movies.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that. Yeah, but you guys have a reputation of this kind of stuff. Like there was a time we did basically our version of Trading Spaces at the Tupelo house. So you guys decorated the girls' room, and then the girls decorated the boys' room, and you guys, the Tupelo house.
Oh.
And you had the house. We had the rooms done for less than a week, and this is the famous throwing the pen into the ceiling fan. So literally, the ceiling fan's running. You took an ink pen, and who threw? I think you threw.
Are we recording that too?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
This is captured forever.
I didn't know we had already started.
We're started, right? Everything's good. Yes. Stagehand says we're good. Stagehand says we're good.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
good.
blue pen.
Yeah.
Well, that was actually an accident. I didn't mean to do that.
It was an accident in high.
Zach, that's why I fessed up to it so quickly. Because Zach and I, we used to have like this like sketchbook where I had like
Okay.
characters.
Yep, yep.
You put the paper over and you sketch over.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was getting on the top bunk to do that, and I went and got a pen from somewhere. I don't know why. I remember it was like one of those glittery blue pens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the worst kind. So, anyways, I went to toss it on the top bunk, and it went like directly into the fan and exploded and went everywhere.
I don't think I remember this story being that it was an accident, actually.
I definitely didn't do it on purpose.
Because Zachary's story is more like it left our hand.
Trying to get me in trouble.
It left our hand, and it was more like no.
Yeah, I didn't think like it was definitely one of those like I don't know. I remember like
Didn't think this
now,
through.
before. Like when I was a little kid, like I would just do stuff. You know what I mean? I wouldn't.
That's for
think
sure.
about it.
There
I
is
would
no.
just do stuff. So
That's a little boy
I
thing.
Walked into the room and just threw the pen.
Yeah.
And like as I'm watching the pen, I'm like, oh man. So.
And it exploded all over the ceiling.
All over.
It's all newly painted, all newly decorated. It was this beautiful, cool.
Blue room. You know?
Seriously, it was a big giant blue splatter on the.
It could have been some other color. At least it was blue.
Oh my gosh, we were so mad and frustrated.
I went and told you right away because I was like,
That's true. You walked in. I think you
I
said
said you're gonna kill me.
you're gonna kill me.
Yep.
Yeah, and we didn't kill you, but yeah, we kind of wanted to. I definitely have to be honest there. It was really rough. But you know what? Here's the thing. Little boys don't have that voice that, hey, listen, I don't think this is a good idea. Maybe I shouldn't do this. Do you feel like you even have that voice now?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm very much. What's the word?
Thinking about consequences now?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like definitely a lot more than especially even a teenager.
At what point do you think that kind of kicks in? Because me, it was a
I don't
little.
really get myself into too crazy situations now.
Yeah, but I know that I had that conscious voice much until we had Taylor. Once we had Taylor, my whole world changed. Like Taylor having a baby, it was like, oh man, I'm an adult. I mean, it really made it felt like a movie scene. How they do those movie scenes where they do like the fast zoom in? It's like whoosh. That's how I felt my world was when we had Taylor. You haven't had the boy yet. The boy's coming.
Oh yeah, that's.
Jake's expecting, And these are all allergies, by the way, for those of you that are worried about
it's not the
Voldemort in our house. We do not have the Voldemort.
I'm super allergic to oak, and it's everywhere.
It is all of our vehicles here in Florida are yellow. Even though I have a carport, I guess
It's still yellow.
I was at work or something, and it was.
No, it doesn't matter. I park my car underneath my carport.
Oh, it's brutal. So I actually had to take my first allergy pill today because I had
Eyes
shots.
are crusty. My nose is running.
It's brutal. It's brutal. We do not have the Voldemort, but it is.
The C word.
Yeah, we don't want to say that. It's those of you that don't know, if you're on YouTube, any video, all videos get demonetized. People that are publishers on YouTube have to have special privilege to even talk about it and be monetized. Every single video about it will have this little CD sitting underneath it with a little picture of a little circle. It's kind of red looking with these little prongs. That's a picture of what those things look like, which we're not going to even mention. So, not that I think this will ever be monetized, but the point is, I'm trying not to shoot ourselves in the foot. So, all right, let's get back to your childhood. So, how do you remember your teen years? Because you were.
I was an idiot.
I didn't think you were an idiot. I thought you were okay.
I'll tell you some stuff and why I was an idiot.
Okay, well, I don't know that I want to know everything. We probably don't want to know everything. Give me an example that you think is relatively appropriate to talk about being an
You know how
idiot.
I kept getting Xboxes? Because I know you guys didn't want me playing video games, but somehow weekly I'd end up with an Xbox.
Oh my gosh, the video game. It was the worst thing.
I was definitely.
All right, so let me ask your opinion. In hindsight, can you at least acknowledge and understand why we didn't want you to have video games?
Oh yeah,
Can you admit that you're obsessed?
sure.
Okay, okay.
Well,
that wasn't even like a struggle at all.
Back then I worked at Publix, right? So I made a
Right.
little bit of money.
Right.
And then, like, I always had my bag with me when I went to go to Publix. So, like, I think I had a phone too. Maybe. I had a phone at one point.
If you worked at Publix, you most likely had a phone.
Yeah,
We want you
so
not having a phone.
I would, like, go on Craigslist and I would just find Xboxes. Actually, prior to this, even, like, I would get Xboxes that were broken. And back then, the old Xbox 360s or whatever, they would have, like, some weird issue on the interior where, like, a wire, like, wasn't, like, on there, soldered on there right or whatever. So I would bring them home. I would buy it for cheap. I would bring it home and wrap it in a towel and let it run. And run until it got hot enough to the point where it would melt the soldering and then reattach itself somehow, and then it would work for long enough for me to turn around and sell it. So,
well, we knew you were dealing in video game consoles in some way, shape, or form.
yeah, oh yeah. But anyways, that's how I'd go on Craigslist. I would buy them. Have the dude meet me at Publix, and I would buy them. And then I would just, whenever he took me home, it was just in my bag, and you never knew the difference.
We weren't searching your bags.
Yeah, I know. You had a pat down.
We had.
That's the same way. Like if I wanted one, I'd just buy it, and then you guys wouldn't notice it for a day or two. You would take it, and then just next paycheck, buy another one. Yep.
You were a knucklehead.
Oh yeah, I probably would have saved a lot of money if I did do that.
I think you did. You did a lot of stuff with Craigslist and stuff like that.
Oh,
and
I still do sometimes. You know, I'll find a good deal and I'll
Yeah.
flip something.
yeah, I don't know. I didn't think you were that much of a knucklehead. I thought you were all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a weirdo, I think.
I don't think you're a weirdo.
No,
Why would
I
you?
was a weirdo.
You have good Ranger memories.
Yeah.
Rangers was like
Rangers were weirdos.
it was like Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Leave You in the Woods for Dead. Did Civil Air Patrol. Those are cool memories.
Civil Air Patrol was fun to a certain extent, I guess. I don't know. It's weird looking back at Civil Air Patrol. It was just super cringy with those kids. You know what I mean?
Why is that?
Oh man, it's just I don't know. These ROTC and Civil Air Patrol kids are just they take themselves so serious. It's like calm down, bud.
You used to get so frustrated because you would do it and you were into it, and that every time you'd go, you'd get bored because they'd repeat it like all the time. Like you didn't get to do anything fun because they're too busy trying to teach new knuckleheads how to stand and not misbehave.
Yeah. Well, it turned into babysitting at one point, especially when Colonel Westcott was getting ready to get out of there.
Right.
Yeah, it was alright. Just fun while it lasted.
Well, you were always in aviation, so it was kind of a cool thing. And then you got to do stuff with Dana Walker and do mission flight and all that kind of stuff. That was always fun.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed that way more than I enjoyed Civil Air Patrol. I guess that and then Royal Rangers kind of went hand in hand.
Yeah.
But
That's cool.
yeah.
So during that time, you got a chance to meet your future wife.
Yep.
It was kind of
Can I tell
cool
you about
how you met her.
that? Yep.
Well, I know you met her through Taekwondo.
I did. But I think Mr. Zimmerman kind of knew I had a crush on her, and he would more often than not, he would pick her to be my sparring partner, and I hated it. Like I always, because like that's a lose-lose situation, right? Because if you beat the snot out of this girl,
You can't fight the girl that you like.
yeah, then you're like, oh well, you just beat the tar out of a girl, what jerk, you know what I mean? And then like if you let her beat you up, it's like, well then you got your tail turned by a female. What's wrong with
A
that?
girl that you
You know
like.
what I mean? Yeah. So
So
there's no winning situation there.
So Zimmer was messing with you on a regular basis by partnering you. I did not know that you were partnering together all the time.
Oh yeah, more often than not.
That's actually kind of funny.
It's not. I hated it. It was the worst time of my life.
So Morgan beat you up.
My tactic was, well, if I don't hit her, then I'm not a jerk. And then if I stay away from her and she doesn't hit me, then again I'll just I'm just running down the time is what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So just move out of the way. And hopefully she doesn't hit me.
Is it kind of cool to know that you got to marry your high school sweetheart?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we get along pretty good.
Do you still talk a lot about those years, like those high school years? No?
No, she's usually fussing at me because like I'll dig through the laundry hamper and forget a few pieces of clothes on the bed, or
Oh, well, yeah.
I'll leave my contact stuff on the sink, or
You're a knucklehead guy.
Yeah.
You went from being a knucklehead teenager to knucklehead guy.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not real good at those kinds of things. I try to be better. It does get easier because you just get conditioned to realize what you shouldn't fight about.
Well, it's not necessarily a fight. It's just I'm being stupid.
No, what you
know
realize.
what I mean?
Yeah, no, I try to improve every day. Mom's done a pretty good job with me. She's
Yeah.
probably the most patient person I've ever met in my life.
And I don't do anything to her. She's probably really upset. I did a water change on my fish tank earlier, so there's just stuff everywhere.
Oh boy.
Everywhere.
So there's like 10 people. I don't really know how to make it.
Click on that. See what that does.
Click on that.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what happens. No, it just opened it up.
Oh.
Oh, now there's 11. That must be us. So I don't know if you can message on there. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there's a little.
I can see you guys. We can see you now too. Hey, CRP. No, that's your sister. Okay, hold on. It's all going by fast. Let me go back to the top. There we go. Go back to the top. All right. All right, Sierra is denying. I want to read it to you. Sit back.
No, you're lying. Sierra.
Sit back. So Sierra says, I don't take credit at all for their shenanigans. And I actually got her to confess that is not true. She did. And then your mother says the truth has come out, Sierra. So they're actually bickering over that. And Jacqueline says that she loves us. We love you too, Jacqueline. And Deborah Yeager says hi. Hi, Deb.
Is Sierra still watching? Because now we got beef.
All right, well, let's deal with her in a second. See, we'll find out more and more each and every day the story is told. She's referring, obviously, to this whole flooding of the bathroom.
For all we know, the flooding of the bathroom could have been instigated by Sierra. I can't remember.
Oh, they want to know about the mischief the kids did years ago. Laugh out loud. Deb asked about just the... Yes, Deb, it is a lot about that. We'll talk about some other stuff, too. Notice that he's not asking about my shenanigans. So, there we go.
Any ideas?
And there's Nina. Nina says, hi, Nina. And then that's how they told their story. Still do. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. And, okay, so we have a question. Are you excited to be a dad again? You're going to have a son this time.
Mom?
Yeah, it is Mom.
I mean, yeah, this sounds terrible, but I feel like I'm just kind of going through the motions here. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm not as stressed out as I was. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like, I'm not, like, I just kind of know the drill, you know?
Right.
It's definitely fun to have a little boy. Zach says he's a little goongan. I'm going to have a little fishing buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark Powell. Thanks for joining us. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, we'll see how we behave.
All right, so Sarah's made another comment. She says that she had instigated, but it's not my fault if you thought my ideas were actually good. Okay, so I got to be honest. She does kind of have a point there.
Again, hold on a minute.
All right, she says, no, you sit back and behave. All right, it says that she admits that she instigated,
Yep.
but it's not her fault that you thought these were good ideas.
Okay, we talked about how, like, I
love civil rivalry. I love it.
So if you put a little birdie in my ear to do something stupid, obviously I'm gonna. See, I know where you live. I'll drive over there after this. I swear to God.
So we definitely always envision, because Zachary has confessed that a lot of that is true. We always confess that she would just say, I wonder what it'd be like if that pen flew in that ceiling fan. And then it was like her imaginary box of popcorn. And she just,
Yeah, like
these dummies are gonna
stupid.
do it. I think that's a pretty good portrayal of how things might have went.
You're right.
I don't have these kind of elaborate stories with my siblings, so I'm actually kind of envious that we were able to give you those kinds of things. So anyway, so Oh yeah, Dave Rudin says you could ask me questions. So I don't know. You have questions from my childhood or whatever?
I don't know. You've kind of mentioned Bope more often than not.
That was my grandfather. I got to name him too. That was actually my version of trying to say, I think, Papaw.
Oh, yeah.
And it came out Bope. I was really little when I called him Bope.
I remember that airplane you got.
Yeah, it broke. I had to let it go. The tree fell through the shed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it snapped the wing off because it was like a balsa wood. So I didn't even know how big he was into this. So I remember being a kid, and he had made these model airplanes, these remote controls, and they would fly, have remote controls. And it was kind of a big thing in the 70s. I don't know if anybody of you guys remember any of that or not, but my grandfather was really into that. After he passed away, I remember we were putting stuff together or something, and my grandmother had shown me, he had written articles in magazines, because I guess there were magazines for this stuff. So he'd written like 6 of these articles or whatever. Kind of like the time when we were looking at Gaka doing his arrowheads, and we found this article in the newspaper with him searching for arrowheads. I'm like, I didn't know this happened.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool to be able to bring this kind of stuff to light.
Right.
Yeah. My Bope was kind of my life, right? He was like the surrogate dad. He was a huge guy. Like, when I knew him, he was never thin like I am. I was always told he was, and I was like, yeah, right. He was always 6'2", 240 pounds to me. He looked like a linebacker,
What do you do?
not a basketball player. So, all right, well, let's back up, because he in high school, he ended up joining the military. He was in the Navy.
Right.
But he was like an all-star basketball player, but everybody went to war. So he actually played basketball for the Navy team, which was kind of cool. He always told me stories about playing basketball. And in Indiana, you always played basketball. I remember playing basketball when I was like first grade. So we'll get back to more of your questions in just a second. So then later in life, my grandparents, they tried different things. They had run different businesses. I remember there was a lot of talk about an ice cream shop at one point. And ultimately, he ended up working at Sears for a period of time. That's where he learned how to repair and do a lot of appliance work. So that was kind of what they did. They ran a lot of side businesses and things like that. So when we moved to Florida, they basically had started kind of like multiple flea market businesses and things where they could do repair. You could get inexpensive, because he basically just restored them. He'd get broken ones, he'd come to your house and fix things. If you want to get rid of them, he'd just, he'd work it out. And that's kind of how they survived. So that was kind of him. But he was so, I guess, inspirational for me, because he was like the fatherly voice. Yeah, lots and lots of memories about my grandfather. Yeah, we could do a whole show just on Bope.
Old Bope.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Yeah. So, and I was always, I would spend my weekends, not the weekends at my grandparents' house, and they were all about fueling my creativity. So it was all about being creative. I got to do puzzles all the time. I got to write and draw big cartoons. I did the little puppet shows thing. I remember all sorts of crazy memories of different things. They were always, he actually gets the credit. I think everybody helps some, but I remember him, I'd sit on his lap. He actually taught me to read out of comic books.
Oh, really?
So I would ask, what's that word? I actually learned sound effects before I learned words. So I would learn, like, the old Batman show where it's like, I would learn those sound effects before I actually even learned words. But that was how I learned to read. So let's see what we got. We got some people coming in and stuff like that. So anyway, your mom is sweet. She says, I don't think she means it as sweet as I thought. It says, I hope Weston, which is the name you're going to have for your son, is just like you. It would serve you right. So maybe you should keep an eye on him if he goes to the bathtub by himself and flood the house with Riley.
Attention to Riley when she's been.
Riley's a shenanigator, man. I'm so proud of her, man. I wind her up.
I know, man. Knock that off.
Riley's great, and
I'm gonna wring her little neck earlier.
I gotta say, I know. So it's the story. So you're washing your car.
Yep.
It's been washed. I show up, and she's in this little
process, by the way. I don't just like soap down the car.
It's great.
Rinse it off, then I soap it down, and then I got the special stuff.
Of course, it's a process.
Then I rinse it off again, and then I dry it.
It's a process. So she's in her kiddie pool. It's full of, it's way too much water. The water's actually right. So she's got this thing filled up about this far from the top. She's in a bathing suit, splashing it. She's actually, it's swirling. So she's telling me how she's making waves. And you're done, and we're chatting, and you come around, and you've got a towel on the top, whatever, and she just keeps splashing. She just keeps splashing. And I'm
Directly onto the car.
and you're like, I'm trying to, and you're asking her nice, but I'm like, you know, she's like a child. She's not going to listen. So I'm just like telling you, just move the pool or move the car, and you're not having it. And I'm like, wow,
I'm
you're
almost done. I'm like this close from being.
and
done.
at this point, I'm just laughing because you're trying to negotiate with an almost 3-year-old about not splashing water. And all I thought about, let's go back to your childhood, was you walking after the rain with your mother, hand in tow, going, no puddle, no puddle, no puddle, because you were talking yourself out of jumping in the puddles to splash, which, by the way, every boy should do. We should just splash.
Well,
Riley's, she could not splash you. That's why I told her when we were done, I said, go over and give him a hug so she could get you wet anyway. That was awesome.
Sure did.
Well, so yeah, so soon you have a little guy too.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
No more babies after that.
You guys are not alike at all. So girls and boys are so different.
Yeah.
The girls, even though Sierra may have been the instigators, the girls were not as into like such extreme mischief. I'm not saying they weren't mischievous, but it's completely different. Like, it's just completely different. You guys were all about superheroes and lightsabers and crashing things. And you see it with Caleb. Caleb's like crashing cars and let me see if I can shoot them off a ramp. The girls were definitely not into that.
Yeah.
They were definitely not. Yeah. So, all right, what else? We got anything else? Hey, Brian Gilly. Haven't talked to him in a while. So cool to see you pop in here. Throw us a question. Haven't seen you for a minute. It's cool to see you in here. And it's good to see some people coming and saying hi for a minute. We thought we'd just take a break from all the Voldemort talk out there, the topic that shall not be named because of Google and YouTube penalties.
Hiding in the football.
Hiding in the football. Yeah, we talked briefly about hiding in the football, Morgan. So you can, we're going to post all this. We'll cut
I
it.
was talking about Riley hiding my football.
Did she hide the football? Yeah, no, it says hiding in the football.
Oh, Riley does that sometimes because, like, I don't like to run by any means. I don't like it. So
You're such a little old man. You're such a little old man.
It just sucks. I hate it. So after work, rather than running 2 miles, I'll throw the football around with my buddies and run some routes or something like that. And,
right.
You know, that's better than running, I think.
Right.
So, but anyways, Riley will hide it from me sometimes and I'll forget it. So.
Yeah.
Because I just have to go home.
Keeping you on your toes, man.
Yep.
Soon there'll be a little guy, a little girl. She's gonna be 3, man. You think it's crazy now?
Fat, man. I don't know how to handle 2 kids.
Yeah, 2's rough, man. 2's a big step up. 1 to 2 is a lot. 2 to 3, it starts to even out, and after 3, there's no difference. 3, 4, 5, your mom can verify that. I don't know there's a difference. And you guys were always good for me. I could take all 5 of you somewhere. That's why I really try to encourage like a structure, stay with the rules. This is what the rules will be, because I could take all 5. You remember going places with just me? No, don't remember at all. All right, well, it was very uneventful then.
I guess.
I don't. Sierra was always the high maintenance one to go out into public. We'd go out and you guys would go in the tubes, and you guys would take her to the top and leave her, and she just wouldn't come down.
Oh yeah, we did that on purpose.
Yeah, I know you did. So she'd just cry, and I want to come down and stuff like that.
Check this out.
Yeah.
See ya.
All stories that we were never told. Like, it's such a great thing. So, but yeah, we thought we'd do a little talk and try to give everybody a break from the heaviness of the news. This is kind of our story. You know, I do different shows. We do What's Your Story, where I just talk to people, different book authors, things that are on the shelf. You go over, like that page, that YouTube channel. People can do that. And then there's a Pops on Pop Culture. We can talk about movies and stuff. And that's definitely, as you can tell, a huge part of our life. I put some of your stuff in here. This is actually your Buzz Lightyear.
Still missing a hand?
Well, yeah, you cut it up.
Can I, like, order a hand?
I don't know. I actually found exactly this one, and it really wasn't very expensive. But I'm like, I want the mutilated one. That's where the memories are.
Yeah, I know.
It's mutilations, and its head actually comes off. Allison can verify that his head. Well, it just pops on and off. It won't stay. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of a collection, an amalgam of different things. Hey, look, there's the Kit Fisto thing. It may be out of frame.
We got that at a comic show, didn't we?
No, I think I got that as an order thing back when Star Wars was not a thing.
Oh.
And I was like, nobody was into Kit Fisto except for you guys. And it was because he was green and he was cool and had a lightsaber. Yeah. So he made it in here. What else is from your? I don't know. Anything else is from your childhood? Obviously, there's things that you had when you were children. You guys could not leave a slinky alone. You would always straighten out or warp a slinky. So I could never teach you guys how to do a slinky because we had stairs in summer sales, but I couldn't get you guys to leave the slinky alone, so I could show you how to go down the stairs, sling the slinky song.
Jump rope with it and all
Yeah, you were jump rope anyway. That's exactly what kids will do. So, all right, let's see. No running comes from your mom. Your mom says she does not like to run. Mom does not like to run.
Oh yeah.
Mom's going to get eaten by bears someday because we're going to be somewhere there'll be a bear attack, and I'm like, I'll just run, thinking that I have her hand, and she's like, that's enough.
I can run. Like, I'm not terrible at it. I just don't like it. I hate it.
So, all right. So let's find. So we talked about being married to your sweetheart.
Yeah.
What would be the advice that you would have if you had to go back, or you could go back and give your younger self advice?
Probably quit buying dumb things.
I think I try to tell you to not buy dumb things.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't listen to that. I still buy dumb things, but they're less expensive than,
Yeah. Oh, Nina says that if we were chased by bears, Laura would be fine. Your mom would be fine because she would just trip me, which is probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would probably true. But I could play dead, and they say that works.
It doesn't.
I know. It seems silly. And then, yeah. All right. So you would give yourself advice to not buy stupid crap.
Yeah, I probably started. I wish I would have exercised a little younger. Too.
Yeah, we were in Taekwondo.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like weightlifting. That's a little more useful than martial arts. Cause I'll be honest, like there's not like even with my job, there's I fight quite a lot. Not ever once have I been like I'm gonna do some martial arts here. Never, not even once, because it's just.
You do understand that the point of martial arts was definitely more about discipline than actual fighting.
Yeah, that's all true. But I've never done like a roundhouse kick to some guy.
I don't need you doing roundhouse. Do you ever know how cool it was?
I don't even think I'm allowed to do that.
Do you remember the first time you broke a board?
Yeah.
Because it was really cool to see the look on your face.
Mm.
That's what you want out of your kid.
Yeah.
If you can do anything for your kids, is put them in situations that they want to be in and they can be successful. Like when you guys would do soccer for like 5 minutes, and when you guys were like ready to quit soccer, we're like, well, you committed to do a season, but you'll never have to do soccer again because you made a commitment. We always wanted you to fulfill it, but you were so miserable. All the chaos of soccer, like kid soccer is just running into people.
A lot of running, and that's why.
Yeah, you hated it. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So, all right. Reardon says that you wouldn't listen to yourself anyway. He said if you went back inside, you wouldn't listen. I couldn't get through to you. I doubt this version of you could.
I don't know.
Think that your younger self would just call you a boomer, say like, boomer.
Shut up, you dirty boomer.
All right. So if you could go back and give me advice on how to deal with the younger you, or what advice would you give me? Like I get to go back and I get to tweak you, modify, make a change. Is there anything I could actually have said done differently? Do you think? No, nothing. Stubborn boys.
The same old thing.
Stubborn boys.
Oh, we were pretty different when I was younger. I was more into outdoorsy stuff, and you were.
Yeah. I always like taking you and doing your thing. I really wanted you to be happy and support you. I didn't.
But you weren't about to like sit
no,
in tent or nothing.
It was awful.
I understand.
We did it the one.
Thinking back now, like I don't want to do that.
We did it the one time and it was miserable.
Oh yeah.
Zach and I were
that
miserable.
Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. It was miserable. It was cold.
So all right.
Cold.
So there was one camping trip that we had. So both boys went with me camping. We'd gotten some stuff to every family, which has always been great to us. They're always just, no matter whatever happens or how much time goes, we don't see them. They always have a special place in our heart because they helped us during those formidable times. We had this massive tent that I had no idea to do. I had to have help putting it together. And that night was the coldest night of the year. It froze. We're in the middle of the woods. Didn't know what I was doing. We all huddled up. It was miserable.
I took y'all's blanket.
You did. You had all the Zach and I were.
was warm.
Yeah, you rolled up like a cocoon.
Yep.
Zach and I were like, it was like a scene in a movie. Like I'll put my warmth on you, and I'm hugging my poor little son, and we're freezing.
I mean, I survived. I was doing fine.
Yeah, it was awful. I've never been camping again. I would not. To me, I think I can borrow from one of the comedians that said it. I could put a tent up in a hotel room. That's close enough to camping for me. Yeah. Your mom got me to stay at the place at Disney where they had those basically it's like a trailer. It's on the campground. It was actually very campish. It was nice. It's wilderness, whatever. That's close enough. That's good enough for me. So that's good. Anyway, so let's talk about some movie stuff. I love to talk pops and movie stuff. So I wrote down some movies that were such a big deal when you were a kid. Okay.
I can't see him from here.
I know. I don't want you to see. All right. Iron Giant.
Oh yeah, I don't know why we like that movie so much. To be honest with you,
It's a great movie.
it is pretty good.
Have you watched it recently?
No,
It holds up. It's a
it's a
really.
good movie and everything. I
It's
just
a really serious film.
Yeah.
It's a giant robot, but he was cool.
Mhm.
Did you like the fact that he shows up in Ready Player One, but he's actually kind of like violent? It's kind of weird. Like some fans didn't like that.
Yeah.
You didn't like that?
Like that was the whole point of the whole movie. He wasn't trying to blow dudes up.
He was not. He was anti-violence. That was kind of the weird thing, was to have this giant weapon of robot that chooses not to be violent. Yeah, that was a big one. The actual Godzilla one with Matthew Broderick, you were obsessed with that movie.
Well, that movie's garbage.
I know
But,
it's
but
garbage.
I still watch it because I don't know, because I like it.
Is it special? So I actually call that your Nexus years. You've heard my theory by now, right? So there's this phase when you're like right before you're 10. There's a couple years before then, and then well into your 20s. And these movies you can get attached to, and even if they're garbage movies, you can love them. And they're called this, and it happens with music too. Like there can be certain music, and it'll always be something that you. So for me, I grew up in the '80s, so this '80s music, I love it, even though I know a lot of it's just crap. I love Tron. I know it's just not a very good movie from being a movie critic, but I love it. It was groundbreaking. It was so cool. Things like that. I think Godzilla for you guys is like that.
Yeah, probably.
Phantom Menace.
The new ones aren't really that cool. Or not that good, you know what I mean? But
That's
it's a
all right.
cool factor of just watching these giant lizards beat each other.
It's supposed to be a new one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we'll
Somebody
see.
from work's pretty excited about it.
You're kind of like that with you felt that way about Phantom Menace because Star Wars was such
Actually, I
a
watched
big
it the
deal.
other day because I went over to my buddy's house and we watched
Yeah.
it. Because we were going to do like a series like once a week or something. We would just
Right.
go to one of each other's house and watch them in order. And then we're going to watch like the Clone Wars, Mandalorian, all that stuff, kind of in chronological
Mhm.
order. Because he's like a super Star Wars nerd. So he knows way more than I do.
Mhm.
So we watched it again and I'm watching it and I'm like, it's still pretty good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not terrible. You know,
It's totally-
I like it.
it's-
I was just, I was telling Pittman, I was like, yeah, I remember when I was like 3, I stood up in this movie theater and started fighting with my brother with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So literally the opening scene when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan start fighting the robots, the lightsabers come on, you two knuckleheads jump out of your seats in the theater and acting like you're fighting. And everyone around us, like us, stopped watching the movie and we were watching you guys. It was so awesome. We've told this story about 100 times. It'll probably come up again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so
Even
awesome.
the movie itself, like watching like the CGI and everything was so good for 1999. You know.
Yeah. Hey, Candy, thanks for joining us. Hey, Rick, good to see you.
In the summer.
Your Nina says, "Go Godzilla, eat Tokyo." You were all about Godzilla, man. Yeah.
So where are you?
We actually went out to
You're
a
from Louisville.
restaurant one time. You had a Godzilla toy. You were like smashing on the table and stuff like that. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. So, let's see. So, Phantom Menace, but your favorite was Clone Wars, man. You were obsessed with Attack of the Clones,
There's a lot of action in that movie.
And at the
Plus,
end-
Clones are still my favorite.
and you loved all the different color lightsabers, different Jedi's, and all that. You guys, that was it, man. You were hooked.
Clones are still my favorite. I think it's
Yeah.
cool.
We mentioned Buzz Lightyear, but obviously you love the Toy Story
Yeah,
movies.
see, like watching that now, like I'm not.
Not as big.
I burn myself out. I think.
Yeah?
Because I've seen it a trillion times.
Yeah. It's kind of cool though to see you guys.
Like it'll be fun to watch it with the youngins.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But just to watch it by myself.
It's kind of cool to kind of go back and see it through Taylor's kids. That'd be fun to see. Riley's getting into it a little bit.
Yeah.
She's not
She
as.
sat through. She sits through Frozen.
Does she? Yeah. It's brutal, isn't it, Dad?
Yeah.
Frozen's really hard because it's an awful movie. Oh, I'm sorry, Stagehand. I can't stand Frozen. I refuse to go onto a Frozen rant right now because my Frozen rant's pretty rough. You want my Frozen rant?
Mine's probably the same right now.
Is it? I don't know. Let's see. I'll give you my rant. Your short version of my rant. It's a horrible message for little girls.
Oh, why is that?
Okay, so Tangled is this wonderful fairy tale. Tangled is this beautiful fairy tale about trying to find out who you are and going into the world, but also trying to be a responsible civil human being, right? Cares about the guy, cares about her mom. She's trying to do right. In Frozen, you have two girls, and they're thrown to the world, and one's like, well, I'm just going to be whatever I want to be. Forget about my responsibilities as queen. Forget about my kingdom. I'm going to freeze everybody. I'm going to run off into the wilderness and make an ice castle, and all of you can die. And then her young, stupid girl sister is like, well, I'm going to love anybody I meet in 5 minutes, and then I'm going to run off into the wilderness and chase after the crazy ice sister that I just... Everything about this movie unravels into just absolutely horrible messaging for kids. Disney's lost their mind just to sell stuff. Two princesses, two dudes, Olaf, Sven. It was all about selling toys. Horrible messaging. Tangled is way better than Frozen.
I mean, sure, but I don't think my 3-year-old is worried about that.
I didn't say she
likes the
understands.
Dresses and
Of course she does. And the music in the first one is fantastic. The second one is even worse.
You want to hear my...
Sure, give me your version of why you don't like Frozen.
I hate it. And that's it. I hate it. Because it's just the same thing 3,000 times over. The same song over and over. There's mornings I wake up and Let It Go. It's just playing repeatedly in my head.
That's awesome.
And I hate it.
It's awesome. It's like a
I can't get it out for hours.
It's like a worm.
It's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah.
It was really rough when it came out. It's better now. It doesn't come up too much. But all right, so that was our Frozen rant. And Nina says, "Hey Kenny. Hey, by the way, hey Kenny. Thanks for joining us. Always love talking to Kenny. Miss you, bud." Nina says, "Build a snowman." So build a snowman, dude. All right. So we talked about some movies. We want to talk about some Marvel. I made Marvel.
I'm not as big on Marvel.
You know?
But I can,
Where are you at on that? What happened there?
I think I've seen everything.
They wrap up okay?
This
This is the new stuff.
Oh, let me see.
Let me see. All right, I'll run down the new stuff.
Yeah.
You guys want to talk Marvel for a minute? Where's Reardon? Reardon loves to talk about Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
So Black Widow was supposed to come out in May.
I haven't seen that.
Everything is on hold. No, nothing's coming. This is all what's coming out yet next.
Okay.
So Black Widow would be first. And then The Eternals was due in November.
What's that? Doctor Strange movie or something?
No, it is supposed to be weird though. So you know how in the second Guardians movie he had like the weird old guy. He'd been around forever. He's kind of like those kind of creatures, a celestial. It's supposed to be those kind of characters, superpower, weird, yeah, that kind of stuff. It was supposed to come out in November, but everything is on hold right now because of Voldemort, the situation we cannot talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So Voldemort is ravaging the earth and throwing all the economy in. So everything that's happening is that thing that we are not allowed to talk about, called Voldemort. But anyway, so there's a whole bunch of Marvel movies that were slated, and they tie into all the new TV shows.
Okay.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, a WandaVision, all sorts of stuff.
No, stuff like this.
What do you?
I mean, I'll probably watch the movie, but it's like I'm not gonna.
You're not really looking forward to anything? No. Were you happy with the way the Marvel movies wrapped up? The way Endgame happened?
Right.
Yeah.
I like Winter Soldier. That'd be cool.
Winter Soldier is my favorite.
Yeah.
I think it's.
Black Widow.
I'm all right. I'm okay with giving it a shot.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll watch it and everything. It's just.
I think Winter Soldier is the best one because it's almost like a Jason Bourne movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, even though they're super powered characters, it's not as heavy super powered in science fiction-y as some of the others. Yeah. And it was definitely a lot more political theater, political drama. Sci-fi didn't get in the way of really good stories. So
I think Captain America still takes the cake. Maybe not necessarily the movies, but the character itself.
Can I mess with you a minute? Because I think actually in hindsight,
you're gonna murder my feet.
Oh, by the way, he has massive sunburns on his feet because he doesn't know how to take care of
I
himself.
fell asleep in the kayak. Man.
Fell asleep in his kayak, burned his feet. So I stepped on it. So Captain America, to me, Marvel really dropped the ball. So watch.
In the movies itself?
Yeah, the movies messed it up. Okay. So Stagehand's going to be really mad at me because she loves Captain America. Not as much as Spider-Man, but Captain America's pretty close. So Captain America starts off okay, and in like the Avengers movie and things like that. But once you get to Endgame, this whole period of time, he was, in the comic books, he was the old guy trapped in the new guy body, right? So he's like the crotchety old World War II guy. Now I will say
I would like that way better.
He got away from like saying ma'am and being polite and being traditional and all that. He was always trying to adapt to modern times, and it got way too focused on that and not about staying who he actually is. Because other than loving Peggy, Captain America wasn't like a World War II guy, like at all in the end. But he was heroic, and he was, you know, it was. I loved it. I was enjoyable, and he's worthy to pick up Thor's hammer. He's worthy to lead the Avengers. It was all really cool stuff. But
I just think it's cool that, you know, he's got this shield and he's just stacking bodies. That guy's just
stacking aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that they did a disservice by messing with him a little bit, and I'm not sure how it's going to work now that we don't have him as Captain America, how they'll have a new Captain America or not. So, yeah. Well, it's interesting that you're not really looking forward to the Marvel stuff. So,
I am looking forward to Mandalorian.
season 2 Mandalorian, yeah. Everybody loved Mandalorian.
Yep.
Did you like Baby Yoda and stuff, or is it just Mandalorian?
When that scene when the stormtroopers were like punching Baby Yoda.
That was weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I'd murder them.
Yeah, it was rough. That was really uncomfortable.
I'd murder them in the worst way I could possibly feel.
Yeah. Were you waiting for him to be like, and like make the suits pop off or something? I mean, it was just really, I was waiting for something crazy to happen.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why Disney's pulling at my heartstrings like that.
I liked all the little references. I think that's why fans really loved it. It never got in the way.
When he was just murdering Jawas.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why, but I just hate them.
You hate Jawas?
Yes, I hate them.
You're anti-Jawa.
I'm anti-Jawa. So when the Mandalorian guy was just, I mean, he got his tail rotated by him, but other than that, like he got a few of them.
Yeah. It's a good escape. And I think that's what everybody needs right now, right? Voldemort's taking over, and it's like, listen, we're going to be stuck at home, lockdowns.
Who's going to be stuck at home?
I know you won't be. You'll be stuck at work.
Yeah.
I have to work, which is fine. I would be happier just trying to keep life going and stuff. And that's why I kind of encourage people to do. It's like, you have to prepare. You got to be smart. You got to alienate yourself if you're in that high risk group, that kind of thing. But you don't want to let your life just get too consumed. So that's kind of why we thought we'd do this.
How long can we take a break?
We're going to take one in just a few minutes. We got 5 more minutes.
Cool.
All right. I got questions for you. So we'll wrap up with questions. You ready? If you could be any character in a TV show, who do you want to be?
Mandalorian.
Why?
Because he kills Jawas.
That's it, huh?
That's it.
Oh, cool. Well, I thought you might want to drive the A-Team truck or something, so I was just curious.
Oh, well, no.
If you could have lunch with any political leader in history, who and why?
Any political leader?
Anybody, ever.
Probably Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, why?
Because he's cool.
Because he's cool.
He handles things better than
Anybody else?
recent presidents.
What are you going to
I
ask?
don't like political leaders.
What are you going to ask him about?
Huh?
What would you ask Reagan
I
about?
don't know. I remember there was I was reading about a situation where I guess some sailors or something had been taken hostage, and he just had the whole military just show of force.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty gangster. You know what I mean?
Cool.
It's definitely like what we need nowadays. None of this 10-ply nonsense.
10-ply, huh?
Yeah, super soft.
All right. So, all right. Well, we're gonna let's see. If you robbed a bank, how long could you survive on the lam?
On the what?
On the lam, on the run from the law, before they catch you.
I'm not gonna answer that one.
I don't think you could last very long.
Why not?
Because you're too confident.
I'll just be in the woods. You'll never find me.
Well, what good is having the money that you robbed the bank if you're just gonna live in the woods?
Well, I don't know, but
This plan wasn't thought out well at all.
I'm not gonna rob a bank and try to spend it. That seems.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I'll wait till things die down. I don't know. I'm not gonna rob any banks.
Okay. If we had to put together a team of humans to meet the aliens, who gets to be on the team?
Like out of anybody?
Yeah.
Dang, that's a good question.
Finally, I got a good one out of you. That's good.
A team of people. I'm gonna send a bunch of goofballs for sure. Oh yeah.
Here's the representatives of humanity.
O'Donnell, Hillary Clinton, Oprah.
Oh my gosh, you're sending all crazy.
Oh, absolutely, I am.
Why?
Because I don't want the aliens here. So when I see those dorks, they're gonna.
Oh, so your theory is to send a bunch of really strange and weird and off-putting people, or that you find off-putting because you think they will find them off-putting, and then they will just leave.
For sure.
Because they'll destroy the earth if they stay?
Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they'll take.
But you don't want to risk it.
Maybe they'll take those.
Maybe they'll take it with them. That's a good point.
The world will be a better place.
Would you rather be a clown or a musician?
Neither.
You gotta pick one.
Pick one. Mm-hmm. Musician.
Magician.
Oh, magician. I don't want to be a clown.
No.
No.
They spook you too much. Would you rather live in the Star Trek or Star Wars universe?
Star Trek is for nerds.
Star Trek, they're kind of both nerdy. That's really not a fair argument. Why not? Why would you? How are you going to survive in the Star Wars universe?
Like, I'm going to be a clown. I'm going to serve the Republic.
You're just going to get shot. You're going to get cut down by a Jedi. Cut down by a Jedi.
Short stay.
If you could have a food-flavored air freshener, what would you like?
Waffles.
Well, you're obsessed with waffles.
I'm not obsessed, but they're,
I didn't know
That's the
you.
kind of food that I like a lot, but I don't eat often.
Oh,
Chicken and waffles. Is
interesting.
my- Yeah.
Well, there you have it. It's our talk with Jake Jones. We might do some other stuff. We'll put together maybe some exclusive content for the YouTube channel.
I got food first.
Watch Your Story and Pops on Pop Culture. And we'll do all that. And they snuck in a P remark. So, hey, where you go? It's a high quality show to distract you from Voldemort and your family life and struggles. So, there you go. Thanks, dude. It's been kind of cool hanging out.
Yeah. Is that all your questions?
Well, I have extra questions because it could always be for one of your siblings. Who would you like? Who do you think I should try to really chase down next? Which sibling?
You should get your Zach or Sierra.
Which? Yeah. All right.
I gotta bring this closer.
Yeah, we're good. All right. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for spending some time with us. We appreciate all you guys. And it's a good first experience. We learned a lot. Learned about what works, what doesn't work. My stagehand's amazing. Allison, thank you so much for all your help. Awesome. Thanks.